You know that feeling, right? That absolute heart in your stomach moment. You're holding your favorite ceramic bowl, maybe it was a gift, something you've had forever, and then it slips. You hear that horrible final crack as it shatters on the floor. And that feels like the end of the story for that object, doesn't it? But what if it wasn't? What if that crack was actually just the beginning of its most beautiful chapter? Okay, let's get into this. For most of us, yeah, the playbook is pretty simple. Something breaks, it goes in the trash, and we head out to buy a shiny, new, perfect replacement. But there's a totally different way to look at it. An approach where breaking something isn't the end, but an opportunity, a chance to repair it, and in that process, make it even more valuable, more full of story, and honestly, more beautiful than when it was brand new. Sounds kind of crazy, right? And that is the central question we're going to dig into. How can the act of shattering and then mending something actually add value? Well, the answer takes us on a pretty amazing journey back in time to a society that absolutely mastered the art of finding beauty in what's broken. To get there, though, we first have to understand the system we're living in right now. Our modern world overwhelmingly sees a crack as a failure. We've built a system that's all about replacement, not repair. Now, check this out because the numbers here are just stark. Right now, only about 7% of our entire global economy is circular. That means resources are being reused, repaired, and cycled back into the system. The other 93%, that's what we call a take, make, waste economy. We take resources from the earth, we make something, we use it for a little while, and then we throw it away. It is a one-way street straight to the landfill, and it's creating a truly massive waste problem. But here's the thing. This isn't a new problem. To find a solution, we can actually look to the past, to a time when this exact kind of wasteful thinking brought one of the world's biggest cities to its knees, a city that was, for all intents and purposes, completely broken. We have to travel back 4 centuries to the city of Edo, which we all now know as Tokyo. It was a huge, sprawling metropolis with nearly 1 million people, but it was teetering right on the edge of total disaster. And the problem wasn't just one thing. It was this cascade of failures, a total domino effect. They were logging so intensely to build the city that they stripped the forests bare. That led to huge timber shortages and massive erosion. And without all those trees to soak up the rain, the city was hit by devastating floods over and over, which threatened their entire food supply. Their system was failing, big time. But here's the incredible part. Edo didn't collapse. Instead, its leaders brought in these sweeping reforms that weren't just about new laws. They were about a deep, profound shift in mindset. They saved their city by embracing a philosophy of simply enough. And at the very heart of this huge transformation was this powerful concept, motonai. It's a Buddhist idea that carries this deep sense of regret over any kind of waste. It's the idea of cherishing every single thing, from a grain of rice to a tiny scrap of fabric, and finding value in all of it. It's about being satisfied with what you have. And this one idea completely reshaped their world. And this philosophy wasn't just some abstract idea. It actually gave birth to a whole culture of beautiful, practical, and sustainable arts. It created a world of unbroken objects, where almost nothing was ever truly thrown away. Just think about the life of a single kimono. It would start its life as this beautiful piece of clothing, worn and mended for years. When it got too frayed to wear, it wasn't tossed out, no way. It was repurposed into a futon cover. After that, it was cut into smaller pieces for diapers. And then, when even those were worn out, it became a cleaning cloth. And finally, at the absolute very end of its life, it was burned for fuel. Not one single thread went to waste. This whole waste-nothing approach led to this amazing tradition known as boro, where little fragments of old cloth were lovingly stitched together into new patchworked garments. And this just perfectly shows that philosophical shift. Instead of trying to hide the mended spots, the patchwork was celebrated. It literally became a visible, tangible record of a family's history, passed down through generations. But maybe the most famous and honestly poetic expression of this whole idea is found in another art form. It's one that just perfectly captures this quote. An art where an object's damage doesn't just tell a story, it becomes its most celebrated feature. This is kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery. So when a bowl or a plate shatters, the pieces are carefully put back together. But instead of using some invisible glue to hide the damage, the artisan uses a special lacquer that's dusted with powdered gold. The cracks aren't just repaired, they are illuminated. The lines where it broke become these beautiful veins of gold, literally turning the history of the object's trauma into its greatest strength. So, what does this 400-year-old philosophy have to teach us today? In our world of fast fashion and disposable everything? Well, the lesson of Edo, of Boro, and of Kintsugi is that the real value isn't in pretending things are perfect and unbroken. The gold is in the repair. And this idea, it applies to so much more than just bowls and kimonos. We are so often terrified of showing our own cracks, right? Our own mistakes and vulnerabilities. But what Kintsugi teaches us is that being unbroken doesn't mean you were never damaged. It means you had the courage and the honesty to face your fractures and put yourself back together. And maybe, just maybe, you're stronger and more beautiful than you were before. So that leaves us with a final thought to ponder. It could be an object, a relationship, a memory, maybe even a part of yourself. What in your life is more valuable, more meaningful, and more beautiful precisely because it was once broken?